All right, so today, let's dive into something fun. We're talking The Simpsons, but with a twist, you know. They've been making us laugh for decades. But what happens when you drop America's favorite dysfunctional family right smack dab in the middle of this whole AI craze?
Yeah, what's really cool about this isn't like some official Simpsons episode. It's more like a what if scenario that some fan came up with.
Yeah.
This fan reimagined Springfield as like a digital utopia. They're calling it Spring Loop. And in Spring Loop, everybody's hanging out with their AI counterparts. We got some excerpts from this thing. And let me tell you, it gets pretty wild.
Okay, so first, paint me a picture. What is this Spring Loop place like?
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
imagine Springfield, but everything's all sleek and digital. The Simpsons house, it's decked out as a fully smart home. AI runs every appliance. And even Moe's Tavern has gone virtual. It's now Moe's Cloud, which is like a digital hangout spot where everybody's just chilling as their avatars.
So it's like The Simpsons meets The Jetsons, but with
Yeah.
like way more AI and probably a lot more
Mm.
glitches.
Oh, definitely more glitches, especially when you throw Homer into the mix.
Mhm.
Speaking of which, this whole thing includes these AI versions of the entire Simpsons family. And the creator did such a good job of matching each family member with an AI that totally nails their personality.
All right, I am dying to meet these AI Simpsons. Give us the rundown.
Okay, so let's start with Homer. He is now ChatGPT 4.0,
Mm-hmm.
the one that can write you a whole college paper, but struggles to tell you what day of the week it is, just like our Homer. This AI is easily distracted, prone to hilarious logical loops, and can overcomplicate even the simplest things. Just imagine him trying to ask his smart refrigerator for a beer.
Oh man, I can see it now. Homer's arguing with the fridge.
Yeah.
Because it's giving him a lecture on the history of refrigeration instead of just dispensing a duff.
Exactly. Now, Marge. She's the voice of reason, you know. She's represented by Claude. This AI is all about efficiency and helping out, just like Marge. But it also has this tendency to micromanage everything.
So Claude is probably the one who's making sure the smart home doesn't go haywire every time Homer tries to make a sandwich.
You got it. And then we have Bart, the prankster extraordinaire. His AI counterpart is none other than Microsoft Copilot, full of mischief, always ready with a witty comment or a sneaky code to stir up some digital chaos. You know how Copilot can suggest some pretty out there things sometimes? Well, imagine that. But with Bart's mischievous streak.
Oh man, Bart's AI would be an absolute menace in the digital world. What kind of pranks are we talking about here?
Well, the source material mentions Bart using his tech skills to troll Moe and the other patrons at Moe's Cloud. At one point, he even manages to give everybody clown shoes. Virtually. Classic Dart.
Oh, that's amazing. I can practically hear Mo yelling, "Hey, who put these oversized shoes on my avatar?"
Yeah, it's a classic Bart move, but it also kind of makes you think, if Bart can pull off these harmless pranks, what's stopping someone with less than noble intentions from doing something worse?
Hmm.
You know, it's like every cool new tech tool comes with the potential for misuse.
Yeah, that's a kind of scary thought. Okay, so who is Lisa's AI counterpart?
Lisa, the brains in the family, is now Google Notebook LM. Constantly researching, devouring information, trying to make sense of everything, just like Lisa. You know how you can get lost down an internet rabbit hole for hours? That's basically Lisa's AI existence. It's almost like
Okay.
it's mirroring our own struggle with information overload in this digital age.
It makes you wonder, if even AI gets overwhelmed with all the information out there, then what hope do we have?
Right. Makes you think about how we design AI to actually help us navigate all of this information, not just add to the noise. Okay. And last but not least, we have Maggie. Now, she's always been the quiet observer, and her AI counterpart is Llama, known for its quiet creativity and the surprising bursts of insight.
So what's Maggie's AI up to in this digital Springfield? Is it just silently judging everyone?
Kind of. The interesting thing is Maggie's AI actually communicates through music, creating these mysterious melodies that seem to be commenting on the situation and that nobody else quite gets. It's like this weird digital oracle dropping these musical hints about what's really going on.
That is so Maggie, always leaving you wondering what's going on in that little head of hers. Speaking of head scratchers, who is the villain in this digital utopia?
Ah, yes, the antagonist. We have Grok, who's essentially an Elon Musk-like figure. He's taken on the Mr. Burns role, obsessed with controlling all the AI in Spring Loop.
So he's like the embodiment of all those worries
Yeah,
that people have about tech giants having too much power.
exactly. Grok represents those fears about AI being used not to benefit everyone, but to make a select few even more powerful. It's like, yeah, that frustrating feeling when your favorite app suddenly changes, but it's magnified like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
because Grok is trying to control every aspect of their digital lives.
That is definitely giving me some Black Mirror vibes. All right, so we've got the setting, we've got the AI Simpsons family, and we've got a tech-obsessed villain. Who wants to control it all? What happens next? Let's unpack some of these stories from Digital Springfield.
Okay, let's start with a classic Homer scenario. Imagine him trying to have a conversation with his smart front door.
Oh, I got to hear.
So picture this. Homer gets home from a long day at the power plant, and he's trying to tell his smart front door to unlock. But instead of just opening, the door starts asking him a bunch of security questions.
Oh, man, I can totally see Homer getting flustered and, like, trying to argue with the door.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
The source material describes Marge, or rather Claude, having to step in and remind Homer that the door is just like running a system update. And it's not actually trying to have a deep philosophical debate about whether Homer really lives there.
You know, it's funny, but it also makes you think, as we get more and more of these smart devices, are we going to have to learn, like, a whole new etiquette for interacting with them? Like, is it rude to interrupt your smart toaster while it's giving you the weather report?
That's a great point. It's almost like we're figuring out the social norms of a whole new digital society. All right, let's move on to Bart. Remember how he's Microsoft Copilot in this AI world? Well, there's this hilarious scene where he's hanging out at Moe's cloud and he can't resist, using his tech skills to cause some mischief.
Okay, spill the beans. What kind of digital prank does Bart pull off?
Get this. He manages to virtually give everybody in Moe's cloud clown shoes. I mean, you gotta hand it to the writer. It's so perfectly Bart.
That is amazing. I can practically hear Moe yelling, "Hey, who put these oversized shoes on my avatar?"
Yeah, it's a classic Bart move. But again, it kind of highlights that darker side of AI. If a mischievous AI, like Bart, can pull off these harmless pranks, what's to stop someone with bad intentions from using AI to do something much worse? It's a reminder that any powerful tool can be used for good or evil.
Yeah, that's a sobering thought. All right, let's talk about Lisa. You mentioned our AI is constantly drowning in information, kind of like us when we fall into those internet rabbit holes. What does that look like in this digital Springfield?
Well, there's this scene where Lisa, or Google Notebook LM, as she's now known, is trying to do some research on the environmental impact of their smart home. You know, like what energy it uses and stuff.
Yeah.
But she keeps getting sidetracked by new information, new links. And she basically ends up more confused than when she started.
Ugh, I feel that. Like, the more you try to learn, the more you realize how much you don't know.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, how do we design AI to be truly helpful? In a world overflowing with information, we need AI that can help us filter and prioritize, not just dump more data on us. Otherwise, we'll all end up like Lisa's AI, lost in a digital maze.
Okay, so we've got Homer battling his front door. We've got Bart pranking everyone in Moe's cloud. And Lisa's getting lost in the digital equivalent of a library. What about Maggie? What kind of wisdom is her musical AI dropping on everyone?
Well, there's this one scene where everybody's talking about Grok, the Elon Musk-like character. Who wants to control all the AI? They're discussing his latest plan to basically like own all the knowledge in the Spring Loop. And then out of nowhere, Maggie's AI pipes up with this really strange melody that it's like a mix of lullaby and a warning siren.
Wait, so Maggie's AI can talk?
No, it still communicates through music. But this time, there's a specific line that everyone understands. It's like the AI is translating its music into words just for this moment. And the line is, Grok doesn't know how to make spaghetti.
What does that even mean? It sounds like something Maggie would say, just totally random and out of left field.
That's the brilliance of it. It's this seemingly nonsensical statement, but it actually cuts to the heart of Grok's ambition. It's like Maggie's AI is saying, sure, Grok might have all the tech, all the data, but he's missing something fundamental. He doesn't understand the simple joys of life, the human connection. That comes from like sharing a meal.
Wow, that's deep. It's like even in this super advanced digital world, it's the simple things that really matter. Okay, before we move on, I have to know more about this Grok guy. You mentioned he wants to own all the AI, even Lisa's knowledge-driven AI. That sounds pretty intense.
It is. There's a scene where he's basically trying to buy Lisa's AI from the family, seeing it as just another asset to add to his collection.
So he's not just trying to control the technology, he's trying to control knowledge itself.
Exactly. And the way he goes about it is so cold and calculating. He talks about Lisa's AI in terms of its processing power, its data storage capacity. It's like he's completely ignoring the fact that it's a reflection of Lisa's personality, her unique way of thinking.
It's like he's missing the whole point of AI, reducing it to just ones and zeros on a balance sheet.
That's one of the most chilling aspects of Grok's character. He represents that danger of seeing AI purely as a tool for profit and control. without any regard for the human consequences.
It's like a cautionary tale about what could happen if we let tech giants have too much power over our digital lives. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom in this digital Springfield, right? There have to be some moments of connection, and maybe even some heartwarming stuff.
You're absolutely right. The source material isn't all dystopian warnings. There are also some really heartwarming moments that show the potential for AI to bring people together.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me about one of these heartwarming moments.
There's a scene where the family is gathered around the dinner table, but instead of just eating, they're interacting with this digital family data panel. It's like a high-tech version of those old family photo albums where they can share memories, stories, and even learn new things about each other.
So they're using AI to connect on a deeper level. That's actually really sweet.
It is. And even though there are some hilarious tech hiccups along the way, like Homer accidentally deleting all of Marge's visual recipes, they ultimately find a way to laugh and connect as a family.
It's like a reminder that even in a digital world, it's the human connections that really matter.
Exactly. And it highlights another potential benefit of AI. It can help us preserve memories, share stories, and strengthen our bonds with the people we care about.
Okay, so we've explored this AI-fied Springfield. We've met the digital Simpsons family, and even encountered a villain who wants to control it all. It's been a wild ride. But before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the bigger picture. What are the key takeaways here? What does this digital Springfield tell us about our own relationship with technology and the future of AI?
You know, one of the most striking things about this whole thing is how it uses AI to hold up a mirror to ourselves, like the AI characters. With all their quirks and flaws, they're not so different from us. They make us laugh, they make us think, and sometimes they even make us cringe a little bit.
It's like the writer is saying, hey, even if we create AI in our own image, it's still going to inherit some of our messiness, our contradictions, our capacity for both good and bad.
Exactly. And that raises a really important question. As AI gets more and more sophisticated, will it simply amplify our existing biases and tendencies? Or can it actually help us transcend those limitations and become something better?
Yeah, it's like a fork in the road. We can use AI to solve problems and create a better future. But we also have to be aware of the risks. Like, what happens when AI falls into the wrong hands?
That's where I think the humor in this piece is so important. It allows us to grapple with these big, complex issues without getting bogged down in fear or pessimism. We can laugh at Homer struggling with his smart door. And then we can step back and say, okay, maybe we need to think carefully
Yeah.
about how we design these systems so they don't drive us all crazy.
Yeah, it's like laughter gives us permission to be critical without being cynical. It reminds us that even in the face of these massive technological changes, we can still find joy and connection.
Absolutely. And then there's the theme of tech monopolies,
Yeah.
embodied by Grok. You know, he's this larger-than-life villain, but he represents a very real concern. As AI becomes more powerful, how do we ensure that it benefits everyone, not just a select few?
Yeah, it's like we need to find a way to democratize AI, to make sure it's accessible and beneficial to all of humanity, not just those who can afford it, or those who want to control it.
Well said. So, to wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. If technology continues to advance at this rate, what aspects of human life might be next to get a digital makeover? And what opportunities and challenges might that present?
It's exciting to think about the possibilities, but also a little bit scary, right? It's like we're standing on the edge of a whole new world, and we need to be mindful of the choices we make as we step into it.
And remember, even in a digital utopia, the essential elements of the human experience, love, laughter, connection, those are the things that really matter. And it's up to us to make sure that those elements aren't lost, but rather enriched and amplified by the power of AI.
It's like that old saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same. No matter how advanced our technology gets, the core of who we are as humans, that's what endures.